That's the dua. We don't know how to make dua. So we end up over-planning, overthinking. And that's the problem. A lot of us are all in the mind, not in the body. What we're trying to establish is that connection again. And the best of teachers is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He taught those things to the Sahaba from 4 angles. The angle of swimming and running, angle of horse husbandry and horsemanship, the angle of archery, and the angle of wrestling. Because through those things can't be taught in classroom, like today's classroom or books or masjid, because our masjids have changed. In the time of Rasulullah alayhi salam, the masjid was a place of wrestling. They would wrestle in the masjid. No problem with kids wrestling and Sahaba wrestling. It was a common thing. That's why Dagestanis, they have a culture, the men talk, even in Bosnia. Men will sit, will talk, and kids wrestling. That's why the ulama used to have, turban in the past. In Ottoman period, they would carry a turban, and on the left side they would let a cloth hang. And that cloth was called tailasan. And it was the significance of connecting the mind to the heart. It was a reminder for them. You understand?
Yeah.
You can't be all in the mind, and you can't be all in the body. You have to balance. Because the conversation we're having today, the conversation between men, the conversation of manipulating sound is underset or underlined by the conversation of manipulating body. Because you and I are only able to have a civil conversation because we know what can happen if we don't. Because we can wrestle. And there's no argument after wrestle match. You pin,
Yeah,
done.
of course. Yeah.
That's why, that's the origin of language is actually physical. And that's why also it goes back to Allah. What does that mean? If we bring it back to Allah. Because Allah Ta'ala, He speaks but not in the physical. We are limited to physical. Allah is beyond this. That's why we can't comprehend or understand. We speak with vocal cords. Allah doesn't have an organ. Allah does not need anything. Comprehending this and understanding Sayyidina Hamza, Sayyidina Umar, you see all that. Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid, Rukana, the story of Rukana is well known. Maybe not as well known as it should be. But they were all there for wrestling. Very interesting. Why? Why those two things? Because the conversation we're having today, the conversation between men, the conversation of manipulating sound is underset or underlined by the conversation of manipulating body. Speak to these things, not just to books. Go to water, learn about fana. Go to horses, learn about children. I learned more from horse, how to interact with my partner, my wife, than from any book, self-development or course.
If you can teach a horse, you can...
If you can rear a horse, you can raise children, raise a child. So the word in Arabic, and Arabic is such a wonderful language. Furusiya comes from what word?
Firas.
Yes. The word for knowing horses comes from the same word for knowing men. It is the biggest BS reader of all animals. You can't be fake around horse. It sees right through you.
Yeah.
When we mention swimming, we have to mention running because they come together. Islam is a practical religion and it's meant for the world. Every prophet came to their nation except Muhammad alayhi salam, but he came to all ins and jinn. Correct? So it's a whole. It's nobody set up their life better than him. And no will they ever. Nobody. So swimming and running must be mentioned in the same breath. Because, and breath. SubhanAllah. Because if you can't swim, you can run. No excuse. Prophet ﷺ learned to swim in the wells of Banu Najjar at the age of 6. By the way, Arabic word for sibaha, do you know what the root word? Sibaha and tasbih have the same root word. Get that? Mind blown. And the lungs, are the most important organ for this art. I've never met a hafiz that hasn't got a good breath hold. Two things for hafiz. Like every hafiz I've met, a hafiz Quran, mushaf in his chest, proper hafiz, right? I've never met one that isn't good looking. First of all, his face is equal, like he's not symmetrical. Why? Because of the exercise of the letters and the tilawatul Quran. And second, when I got into diving and swimming, I've never met a hafiz or someone that is a lover of Quran, a friend of, like someone who befriends or spends time, should I say, probably better word, with Quran a lot, that hasn't got his breath hold right. He knows about breathing. He knows about pacing. That's why the Prophet said, when the Sahaba came, Sahaba, their love of Rasulullah was different. When you want to see if love is genuine, you will see jealousy in it. It's a sign of true love. If you are jealous, so if you really love someone, you will feel jealousy. You are human, brother. Yeah. If you don't feel it, it's a sign, it's a bad sign. A little bit of jealousy is healthy. Meaning from the love of that person, you want them to yourself. Like you really love them. We all know, we all love them.
You want to be friendly.
We know. You become a bit greedy. I can't let go. I love you so much. When the Sahaba loved Rasulullah, that's how they loved him. So when he called them, the young ones, come to pray, some came, others stayed. And the ones who came, of course, said, Ya Rasulullah, we are here. We love you. Look at us, like shower us with your blessings and love. But they are playing. What are they playing? Archery. And they said, but our friends are playing, so me. Kids, young adults. He said, he stopped them. Look at the example he said. He stopped them gently. And he said, don't call it play. Because between them and their target is Rawda min Riyad al-Jannah. Because between them and their target is Rawda min Riyad al-Jannah. Does it mean physically? No. Because between the archer and the target is Rawda min Riyad al-Jannah. It doesn't mean that that's a physical strip of paradise or a garden of paradise. It means that by shooting arrows and collecting them, you attain paradise. That's why some ulama said, the walking between the archer and his target is as rewardable as the walking to the masjid. Trukhum innahum fi salat. Leave them, for they are in ibadah, they are in their salah, as long as they don't go past the time. He had that flexibility. There's many ahadith, many riwayat on archery about this. So many ahadith about this Rawda min Riyad al-Jannah trukum fa innahum fi salat. And the relation of archery and salat. The closest ibadah to archery is salat. And scientifically, it requires the use of brain. And scientifically, the area of brain, they did research that when you do archery and when you do speaking, you use the same area of your brain. Americans have seasoned, they are avid hunters. Nobody has the marksmanship culture of America. I think they really excelled at this. They have very strong marksmanship culture. And what means that it's not that they're just into guns. They have seasons for hunting, seasons to use different marksmanship tools. So they have a season for crossbow, which is a bow on a rifle, essentially.
Okay, so sorry to cut you, but like marksmanship, what does it consist of? Because this is my first time hearing this. Yeah.
So marksmanship it means rimaya in Arabic. Okay. So when I heard the hadith, first time I got explanation of علموا أولادكم ثلاثة. The hadith, teach your children 3 things. Yeah, swimming, riding, and marksmanship. Okay. Not archery. Rimaya yashmal. Rimaya includes everything from a rock to a rocket.
Subhanallah.
Marksmanship includes hitting things from far. That's it. A striking far object, striking an object from far. So whether it's a rock, slingshot, bow and arrow, gun, rocket, whatever it is. It's the art of from far. Because Prophet, this is now maybe we're going on for a tangent, but Prophet valued, he did not, should I say, Prophet valued grappling over striking.
Okay,
Because the inherent nature of grappling is that you can subdue your opponent without harming them. In Quran, khataya is used for sin. The word for sin,
Khat. Yeah.
khataya. But it's an archery term because it means too much of something, too little of something, too far to the left or too far to the right. So having balance in even your spirituality is important. Because child lives in a body. Adult, as we go through life, we go into our head, just live in the mind.
Yeah.
It's a problem. So children ride easy. Why? Because they have that inherent sense of balance. Adults, we lose this over time. We don't even feel it.